Uranga versus Miguel Macias.
And this looks to be an incredible rivalry already set in stone from a few days ago. They're finally getting to surf that heat right now, Manny, and the conditions are probably the best we've seen the entire waiting period. And the waves are unloading on that reef right behind us. Big barrels to be had, and I expect we're going to see some guys hitting the lip too.
Yes, and we thank you all for being patient, but this is it. We are live and direct from the north side of Gran Canaria, one of the great islands here in the Canary Islands, and we are outside of Galdar. The waves are firing, and we do have the heat out in the water underway. We are going to finish off this last heat of round number 2 and jump straight into round number 3, and that's where the world title hunt actually really begins. That's where all of the world title contenders are waiting and sitting ready to rock and roll to that prestigious world title. So you guys, don't go anywhere. We're going to be right back with the live action from El Fronton, the Fronton King, right after this. Oh. All right. Well, guess what? Good news for you. We're going to hold off on the commercials.
Straight into the action.
Straight into the action. All right, again, Alex Uranga is out there in the red jersey, a world title contender, along with, in yellow, Miguel Macias. So we're going straight into it. Again, thank you all for tuning in from around the world. And as you can see, the waves are pumping. And this is just a little glimpse on what is to be expected as far as what's up. Here we go, up and riding. Miguel Macias, look at this thing dropping in. Nice, clean, smooth bottom turn. Finding that inside pocket. Can he come out of this barrel on the inside? And no, a little bit too deep for Miguel Macias. So we are underway, and it looks like we do have, oh my goodness, just a giant wave coming in onto the reef. And I want to say it was Alex Uranga who took a little look on that on the left, but just airdropping into madness. So this is going to be a very, very exciting heat as we get underway. As you can see, we are already underway. Alex Uranga clocking in a 7.33 and a 5.5, and he is way ahead of Miguel Macias. This is a 25-minute heat. Top 2 waves are scored, and let me tell you, those 25 minutes are going to zip right by if these guys wait for those bigger waves. Anything is going to be very, very solid. I'm pretty excited for this day. I'm not even that close to the water, and I can feel the energy just coming up the cliff.
Oh, the vibration of these waves detonating on that reef and eventuating right on the shoreline, right at the base of this cliff, Manny. It is definitely palpable. And you know, you mentioned about the timing that we have during these 25-minute heats and how fast that's going to go by. With a longer period swell, we are going to see these waves kind of stretch a little bit further apart, and that'll take more time for these waves to come in. So I expect, you know, maybe less opportunities during 25 minutes as opposed to a short period swell where the waves are piling up on each other. So while these riders wait for the sets to come in, there we can see just a small empty on screen, just a gorgeous barrel. While we have out in the lineup, Miguel waiting patiently, sitting with first priority. Alex Uranga still making his way back out into the lineup after his last attempt.
Oh my goodness. So the priority, it is definitely in place, and it is a vital part of this competition. The priority factor, really quick, Dave Hubbard.
So priority system is there so our riders can wait patiently and they can access the waves that they want to. So if you're holding that first priority spot, you can sit wherever you want to on this reef shelf and take off on the next wave that you choose, no matter where your opponent is. Priority is used by paddling, so if you have the first priority and you paddle for a wave, that will be deemed your use of the priority.
Yep.
And if the rider in second priority is there in the takeoff area, he will then move into that first priority position, and the guy who just paddled will move down into second priority.
And it's crucial too. The person who does not have priority drops in on the person who is actually looking and paddling for that wave who does have priority. A penalty will be incurred, and that will definitely hurt your scores.
And we've seen that a couple times this event, and what happens is the second scoring ride, so the lower of the top 2 scores, will be cut in half for that interference penalty.
And that could be a do or die situation for these competitors. So definitely do not want to get a penalty out there, and make sure to stay away from the interference. That's, I mean, they're one and the same. So the bigger scores, where are they coming from?
You know, on a day like today, I would expect it to come from big barrels. And if we see guys attacking the lip, you know, if it's a committed aerial maneuver, we are likely going to see massive numbers being dropped for large aerial maneuvers. Some of those other smaller days, Manny, as you remember, you know, there was plenty of opportunity for hitting the lip because it was kind of a user-friendly size. Today we're seeing a little bit more meat and potatoes out there, and so it is a little bit more gutsy to be going for those lip maneuvers, and the size is going to probably cut those air maneuvers down as far as quantity, but hopefully still allowing that quality to rise to the top of the maneuvers arena.
And you can see Mike Stewart doing his Facebook Live, just taking it all in and sharing his point of view. But Mike Stewart, a legend, he's still with us in this competition, and it's going to be pretty exciting. He's all smiles right there. Mike Stewart's loving this wave, and it looks like we do see some paddling on the outside. No, both of the riders, you can see going up and over in this water, just surging on the shallow reef here in El Fronton. Back in the day, Alexis Diaz was talking to Guilherme Tamega and I back in 1996, and he was just saying there's this wave in Canary Islands you have to come see.
Whoa.
And Guilherme Tamega got on a plane, and he called this place home for several years after that. And he even said this is an incredible wave. Looks like we do have paddling right here from Miguel Macias and Alex Uranga. Miguel Macias dropping in on this nice size right-hander, slides under the pocket, getting deep barrel. Will he come out with a spin? And he does.
Wow.
Miguel Macias is stoked coming out of that nice, clean, open barrel. Solid wave for Miguel Macias.
That was wonderful. And boy, the crowd was excited. There we see him on his way back out as the wave after him just detonates on the reef. Alex was actually almost in position for that wave right after. I thought we were going to have kind of a 2-for-1 there, right left punch, but it was just a ride for yellow. There we see Jeff Hubbard. He just got in from a free surf. He had the privilege of the morning sesh with just a few other riders.
Mitch Rollins was out there as well. And look at this. Look at this. It's Alex Uranga deep slotted in the gutter, and he comes out of this right-hander. He is stoked. Alex Uranga with his deep, solid barrel. Ladies and gentlemen, we have a show for you today.
And these guys are going blow for blow. Both of those barrels were very heavy rides, and you can see when we get you the replays that, boy, they were just barely able to hold on through those drops, and then using the speed that they took from that drop and get into the barrel. Here's Miguel.
That is the critical part right there, just making it to the bottom. So much water is just hurling onto this shallow reef, and just making it to the bottom on these waves is a feat in itself. But we are here with the highest caliber of riding, and here's a look. As soon as you get to the bottom, you set your rail and slide out of this barrel, if you can maintain, as that water just keeps running up the face of the wave. So much water, and barely making under that, or coming out of that, was Alex Uranga. So Miguel Macias and Alex Uranga, again, solid wave, blow for blow. But again, crucial, just making it to the bottom.
Yeah, making it to the bottom and handling and then getting out of the barrel, that's the critical part. And we actually just saw Miguel in a critical moment there. He actually had to kind of dive off his board because he was a little inside for that big set. Here's another one approaching. Let's see if he turns and burns. No, he just gets through that one as we see
God.
the screen.
Look at that thing. Alex Uranga looking in there.
Those are the kind of waves on offer today, Manny, as the tide is epic conditions for the first probably 4, hopefully more heats of the morning. We hopefully can get through, we'll see how many, but since the tide hasn't gotten all the way high and it's epic right now, we should be able to run for a couple hours this morning and get a nice dent into round number 3, which we're going to be moving into right after this heat.
And that's the toughest part about having an event at these types of reef locations. It's so temperamental and so dependent on the tides and swell direction. And that is because, and that's the reason why we've been putting the event on hold and running them on the specific times. It's because we want the best waves for the riders. And out in the water right now, you can see all the scores. Alex Udonga dropping in on this right-hander, again making it to the bottom nice and clean and smooth, and comes out of a quick little barrel, goes for a roll maneuver, but the judges are going to keep an eye on these maneuvers. You saw that right there from Alex Udonga, not landing in front of the wave, actually landing to the side and riding off to the side of the wave. Not a fully complete maneuver, but the judges have been very critical on that aspect.
Yeah, and they want to see the bigger waves. They want to see the deeper barrels being made and the more critical sections. Let's take a look at Miguel on this one. As he drops in, he's got a big roll there ahead of him and pulls it clean.
Yeah. So Miguel Macias lands out in front of that one. So the big clean maneuver, not much of a barrel, so he opted for a maneuver in that situation. But right now, with priority, Alex Udonga looking very strong in this heat.
Yes, this is wonderful, but hey, Miguel, he's got the highest score of the heat. He only needs just right around a 6-point ride to overtake Alex Udonga, who has a pair of 7.33s. Miguel sitting with the 8.63 that he got for his deep barrel on that set wave. So I think we're just right around 7 or so minutes remaining. Just a bit more, just under 8 now. And Miguel Macias, as we said, just needs about a 6. Wow, this is heating up quick, Manny, as the sun hasn't even crested the beautiful hills. Let's take a look at Alex on this one.
Alex coming off the bottom with a giant maneuver right there and just hitting that ramp perfectly. But again, flying off the back of the wave. The judges are taking note. That is not going to be something that you're going to see a lot of. The rider's going to be wanting to land in front of the wave or land on the face of the wave and ride it out completely. So that will not be a high-scoring wave at all for Alex Udonga. There's so much water out there moving around, and I mean, you can see on your screen right there how the lineup is just landing on this shallow reef. Incredible view. Oh my gosh. Look at these lines coming in.
Wow. We got some more waves coming through, and they're detonating on this reef, just spitting right and left. And some of the waves that come in, the left's incredible. Some of the waves, the right is amazing, and some, it's splitting the peak. Both right and left are just incredible. And so, wow. We've got action on our hands. We've got a beautiful day of competition ahead of us. And today we're really going to see how necessary it is to ride this place on high tide, because later on when the tide drops after the high,
there's another look. Here's another look at Miguel Macias. As you can see, he lands in front of the whitewash and rides it out on the face of the wave. But so it was a pretty solid maneuver. But this right here is what we'll probably see some riders. It's more of a bailout than anything. If you can if you can land that out in front of the whitewash, you have to deal with not only the water coming onto the reef, but coming onto the reef from the side as well. So if you pull that maneuver off, definitely a big score. So we do have some heat draws on standby, and they all determine on who wins this heat, who advances out of this last heat. Out in the waters. Round number 2, heat 16. And this is Omri Laverne right here, one of the most ferocious competitors on the World Tour. And he is one of the contenders for a world title.
Yeah,
he actually now calls
Gran Canaria home, just right down the street from here. Actually, he can see it from his home, and he is prepared. He's not only focused on what's right in front of him,
He's more focused than that cameraman, that's for sure.
but he is amped because he surfs this place even sometimes alone when it's like this, because he lives right there. He knows when it's breaking. He can see it from his home. And now he's going to take all that local knowledge that he now has, even though he hails from Reunion Island. Like we mentioned, he's calling Gran Canaria home. So he's got a world title up for grabs, and it's the finishing events at his home spot, Manny. So here we see some of the riders, on site, really preparing, really readying themselves for the next heat.
We just got a shot of a couple of the riders, Jonathan Vega and Yere Martinez. They are warming up. They're one of the two riders who will be going against Amaury, and it all depends on the outcome of this heat out in the water. The out in the water is round number 2, the last heat, and the winner will go into round number 3, and the reseed is all determined on this heat out in the water. So we do have 2 versions of the seed ready to go. One if Alex Uranga wins this heat,
and one if Miguel wins.
Yes, exactly. So that is on standby right now, and it all will come down to the end of this heat.
So, wow, not too much longer remaining in this heat, but man, it has been an exciting start so far. Those are, the waves on screen, just some of the smaller ones. Now Moz getting some lower leg limbering and stretching done, and he's right down there on the bottom of the cliff where you access the waves from, and to get down onto that reef shelf today, it's a lot trickier than it has been the last several days. You need to time it very well with the waves that are coming in. You need to kind of make a mad scramble and down the rocks, and then a mad dash across this reef shelf, and then jump into the channel, and then make your way out into the lineup.
The stairway down to the reef from high atop the cliff is something the riders forget about. I mean, they go all out in the water, and then they come out, and it looks like Miguel Macias is taking a look at this right-hander, making it to the bottom nice and clean, coming into that white watery inside, and he does come out of that clean barrel, comes out super clean. Miguel Macias riding out of there. So this is both of these guys very fearless out in the water right now and riding this wave perfectly, and we're going to be seeing more of that in round number 3.
And it does look like just about 2 minutes remaining on this one. Alex Uranga out in the back. He's taking a peek. Here's the replay.
All right, Miguel Macias bouncing all the way to the bottom, and then he comes to this inside, gets covered up on the inside, right where it's probably one of the most shallowest parts on the reef, on the inside right, and then he kicks out just before it finishes off on that inside reef. So yeah, a solid wave, but Miguel Macias still behind the 8 ball right now, still needing that 6-point ride, a 5.99. Totally doable. I mean, look at his first score, an 8.67. And again, it comes down to Mother Nature and if those sets are delivered. And it always seems to be always in the cards of Mother Nature delivering those bigger waves, because that's where you're going to get those bigger scores. We got the Red Bull jet ski on standby, ready for any assistance, and not only for the competitors, but also for the photographers that we do, the videographers that we do send out there. Time is winding down for Miguel Macias, and he has second priority. Priority is going to be very crucial, and we're going to see a few paddle battles throughout the event, and that's one of my favorites, is who is more physically fit, who wants it more once a paddle battle ensues. And that's when both riders are on the inside, and to get out to the outside first will be the person who will get that first priority. And you can see their stairway right there. It's a pretty steep climb, and it's the railing's there for a reason.
Yeah, and it's great that they have built stairs and a railing here, because maybe about 5 years ago, it was quite a treacherous trek scaling this cliff to get down into the water. So let's see, this could be one of the final waves that comes in, and just take a look at the raw power on offer right there. Just a beautiful, beautiful wave there. And the heat counts down behind us. Does look like Alex Uranga is moving on into round number 3. Miguel Macias with a beautiful attempt there, and a great heat we just had, but we will be having Jonathan Vega meeting Amelie Laverne in the lineup shortly.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, don't go anywhere. We're going to take a look at, or have a look at our sponsors and come back right after this with round number 3.
I feel like I'm gonna drop real soon. My mind's a hurting, I'm over the moon. Pulse is sagging out, I'm losing the pace. It's the way you feel, man, now the way you taste. Rebel, rebel, I see you with your gun.
And I'm super excited. We got waves. The riders are excited. They've been waiting around for this day where we actually get to see some solid waves hitting the shallow reefs of El Fronton for the 2016 Fronton King. So round number 3, ready to go.
We're getting in there, and we have our first heat paddling out right now. It is going to be Amelie Laverne and Jonathan Vega. And we just had a little bit of a taste, a little appetizer there in Heat 16 of round number 2 to kind of whet our appetite for what's going to be happening the rest of the day. And it's basically going to come in the form of amazing action with some very heavy, heavy waves to be ridden here at Fronton.
Yeah, I mean, we're going to go as far as we can into round number 3. The swell is up, and it's only the beginning of what's to come. But very, very tide sensitive here at El Fronton. So as the tide starts dropping, we're going to still keep running heats, but there is a point where it's going to be too low tide, actually very dangerous. Nobody's actually going to go out there and surf because you can really, really get hurt out here at El Fronton. But we're going to take it to the very edge until it gets too low tide.
And the judges and officials will be making that call heat by heat as we get further, but we still haven't gotten to the high tide of the morning yet, so we're still on the early side of it. Then as we start get onto that falling tide, we're going to be taking an eye, heat by heat. So check it out. Heat number 2 looks pretty exciting as well.
Yes, we have our heat draws here, and we're preparing our graphic to show you as well. And you can look on the APB Tour Facebook page. We will be putting that heat draw of round number 3 up as well. But heat number 2, oh my goodness, Antonio Cardoso and Mike Stewart. That's coming up after heat number 1 that you see out in the water. And here's the graphic for round number 3. That first heat out on the water on standby, waiting for the horn to start. Amelie Laverne, Jonathan Vega. We just mentioned Antonio Cardoso and Mike Stewart.
Coming up right after that is another member of the Pride del Norte crew back from Nazaré. It's Dino Carmo, and going up against one of my fellow homeboys from Hawaii, the bearded brethren, Jacob Romero in Heat 3.
Yes, Alex Uranga just finishing off that heat with a win. Will face off with a legend himself from here, the Canary Islands, Guillermo Cobo. And then we go into heat number 5. Eder Luciano, the Brazilian, who has been waiting to head out there, and he will be facing off the one and only from Australia, Garth McGregor. So if we can get to heat number 6, who will we see?
Matthias Diaz and Mitch Rollins. That looks to be an incredible battle as well, and that's probably realistically about as far as we can hope to get this morning. And like we've been saying, we're going to keep our eye on the conditions. We're not going to risk limb and safety with poor conditions by putting heats out when the tide gets too low, because when the tide does get too low, it stops being perfect and just basically becomes a death slab onto dry reef. So, there is that balance that Manny said. We're gonna take it to the edge, get as many heats as we can while there's still great waves to ride, and once those cease, then we are going to be putting the event on hold through the low tide, and then hopefully resuming as the tide comes back up this afternoon.
Yeah, so there you have it. We are going to start round number 3. These heats, again, I believe there are going to be 25-minute heats. Top 2 waves will be scored. This is an elimination round, round number 3, and this is a very, very crucial round because we do have a world title up for grabs, and all the contenders who are up for that world title are in round number 3. So if one of these contenders falls out, and we're going to bring that situation to you shortly, but those 5 guys, Alex Uranga is one of them, Amaury Laverne, PLC, Jeff Hubbard, and the tour leader currently from South Africa, Ian Campbell. So those 5 riders still have a chance. Some of them slight, some of them right in the mix, are coming up in round number 3.
Yeah, so this should be amazing. Not only the world title implications that will be happening and unfolding as these heats move on, but also just the heats themselves. Each little micro battle will just be an incredible thing to witness, and this is definitely exactly what we want to finish off the 2016 APB Tour with. Incredible bodyboarding action, just the best in the world, fighting it out in the water to take one of the most prestigious awards on offer, the title of being El Fronton King.
Yes, I mean that's the beauty. I mean that's what I love about ending the tour here, is that it's one of the, I've heard it plenty of times throughout the week we've been here, is this wave could possibly be one of the best bodyboarding waves on the planet, and to end the tour here is thumbs up.
Yeah, and I definitely would put it, somewhere in the top 1, maybe even stretch that list to top 2 or top 3 waves that's built exclusively for bodyboarding, and it's just tailor-made. What's so also exciting and attractive about it is in such a condensed takeoff zone.
Yeah.
It's all happening on a very small piece of reef, rights, lefts, huge barrels, huge ramps. Basically any bodyboarding trick possible could be done out here at this wave. So that being said, we just did hear the horn blow. This is Amaury Laverne on the opening ride of heat number 1 and round number 3, and looks like he just gets caught up in the massive explosion of that. Let's take a look at Jonathan Vega, who's out the back having a peek at this one. Whoa, another equally exciting wave that goes unridden there.
So Amaury Laverne not making out of that barrel, and that's going to be giving the priority over to Jonathan Vega. Here's another look. Here's the riders right now. Some of the riders who will be coming up next, taking a look at what is going on out of the water. And that's another beautiful thing about here is the grandstand. The wave is breaking right in front of this cliff, and they set up this full grandstand with benches, and we got a guy, Danny, who's serving up the food. So it's the perfect venue to have the end of the 2016 APB World Tour. Taking a look at this one, Jonathan Vega opting not to go, and look at this thing just hurling on the shallows here at El Fronton. Oh my gosh. You can hear the boom. I mean, it's super loud out there. And
I'm
then
calling you out with the boom. Yeah, you can definitely hear these waves just exploding as they throw themselves onto the shallow water. And one of those features that we often talk about, the spit of the barrel, it basically throws itself inside out because the explosion from the lip hitting the flats reacts inside the barrel as well as out. Let's take a look at Jonathan Vega scooping into this one. Nice long barrel, but it does look like he will not come out of that.
So what's happening? We just seen 2 waves from Amaury Laverne and Jonathan Vega. What's happening? Why are they not making it out of those barrels?
Well, for the audience, that's an awesome question, Manny. You know as well as anyone because you've been out here during some of these lay days. And the barrel is difficult to negotiate, especially at this size. It's hollow, it's open, but the feature that I was just mentioning, which I feel is why you're asking, let's take a look at this. A lot of explosion happening inside that barrel. So the lip is falling, it's making a huge explosion on the outside of the barrel, but also sometimes almost an equally large explosion on the inside. Here's Jonathan Vega on a smaller wave, but again, he's getting pushed up by the explosion, and you can see he got into the roof. So his line went too high. It got a little sticky on the shoulder there, and it threw him over the falls.
All right, so these barrels, even though some of them look wide open and hollow, there is still a chance of them not making it out because of the explosion inside of the barrel. But for the most part, if you get into these barrels and you hold that high line, and you're going to be able to make it out of them. But just getting to the bottom of the wave is a feat in itself, especially on the bigger bombs. And it looks like we may have some paddling going on. Priority right now is in the hands of Amaury Laverne.
Wow, right and left, that wave was just a joy to watch unfold on the reef, but that was one of the smaller ones. These guys want the bombs, they want the sets. So also, Amaury Laverne, a very tactical, smart competitor. He has priority right now. He is probably going to wait patiently until it looks as if Jonathan is interested in the wave, and then he's going to use his priority to have the wave that could be one of the next opportunities for Jonathan. So he has the option to do that because he has priority. So he's going to just kind of wait and watch and bide his time. And there, Jonathan looked like he wanted to go, so Moz went, and Moz is finding a big backflip there, and he does pull it.
Nice.
This was a very small wave by today's standards, but that was a nice flip. And now we see Moz negotiating that inside. He actually has to catch a wave to get off that reef shelf because he was pretty much right smack in the middle. And he now needs to get into the channel.
Yeah, and Moz is, they've been having events here at El Fronton for, the first one we've seen was 2010 on the international level. And here we are, up and running. Oh, big maneuver right there from Jonathan Vega. Nice, clean maneuver, landing out in front of the flats. And see what he's doing right now. He's catching the side wave, and it's pushing him towards the right and getting him off of that shallow reef, as you've seen from Amaury Laverne.
Yeah, but, exactly that.
In 2015, it was the Fronton King was Amaury Laverne, who went head-to-head with Dylos Rodriguez. So Amaury Laverne, no stranger to making it all the way to the finals here at El Fronton. So he would love to get there again and have a shot at that world title. So Moz making his way back out.
There we see Antonio Cardoso getting ready for his matchup with Mike Stewart. There you see the mug shots on the screen in front of you. So Antonio behind those graphics, and these riders are going to be hitting the water. And somebody, I think it was actually Paul Benko, was asking the other day during the competition, do you guys have people caddying for you with extra leashes and equipment on hand? And in those smaller days, it wasn't really thought of as necessary, But on a day like today, I think it would actually be a great idea if these riders, and I'm sure some of them will be, if not all, are already doing so, contracting and asking their compatriots to have some spare gear ready in the event that they need another leash or another fin, potentially even another board. We did see Moz go down with 2 boards earlier.
Yeah, I think having a caddy out in the channel is probably one of those things you definitely would consider. I mean, the question is, you have a heat coming out in round number 3, Dave. Are you going to have a caddy out in the channel?
Maybe not necessarily in the channel. Let's take a look at Moz's backflip while we're at it, though. Clean. Use the power of the wave. He didn't land totally into the flats, but he pulled this maneuver off clean. And for the size of the wave, he probably maximized the scoring potential. Jonathan Vega on his nice invert, and waiting behind with an invert of his own was Live Action Amaury Laverne, and he pulls off his invert on that wave.
So Amaury landing on the other side of the wave on his landing, but did ride it out smoothly. So the judges have some work cut out for them today as they pinpoint the landing, whether or not they were in front of the wave or riding off to the side. And here is a beautiful silhouette of the one and only, the legend.
The legend himself, Mike Stewart, now silhouette of his opponent coming up in heat number 2 of round number 3, Antonio Cardoso from Playa del Norte in Nazaré. Both of those riders, no strangers to heavy conditions, and we are excited to see that matchup play out. It certainly looks great on paper. We can't wait to see it in real live motion in the water out here at El Fronton, and you get to see the incredible view from multiple angles, bringing you the best in replays and everything. So thanks so much for tuning in. Let's see Jonathan Vega live action. He's scooping into this one, gets into the tunnel. Now he's going to hope for another section and just throws half of a spin before kind of flipping his board backwards. And as he paddles out, we'll wait for scores before giving you exactly the current situation.
Again, thank you all for tuning in to the 2016 Fronton King. Manny V here and David Hubbard giving you the live feed from here, El Fronton. That reef right on the bottom of this cliff is producing an incredible wave out here at El Fronton. All the spectators are getting the word from around the island, and I guarantee you for Saturday, this place is going to be packed. Here's another look at Jonathan Vega.
So here's the cute little barrel he scooped into. It came in at a 383. And switching angles, there we see him slowing down, hoping to get the spin, but knew it wasn't really going to factor in. So he ends up getting out of that one. But here we see the situation. A 4.33 and a 5.33. Moz is yet to break that 10-point total. Jonathan Vega with a 5.5 and a 3.83. Doesn't need much more than a 4-point ride to get ahead of Moz at this point, but there is 15 minutes remaining. We are expecting both of these riders to really lock in something special, and we'll have to wait and see when that occurs because, man, conditions this morning, Manny, glassy. Just straight up pump it.
Yes, I mean, we are underway out in the water, round number 3 with epic conditions. We have Amaury Laverne in red, Jonathan Vega from the Canary Islands in yellow, and a big shout out to our main sponsors, Gran Canaria, the European sports island. And you know what? They nailed that logo for sure because there's so much to do on this island, from bodyboarding that we've seen here. There's a bunch of surf breaks, there's running, there's mountain biking. This place is amazing. So if you get a chance, put Gran Canaria on your list. And the Ayuntamiento de Galdar and Epic Events. And of course, this is APB Tour Grand Slam event. Out in the water again, heat number 1 of round number 3, elimination round. If you end up in second place in these heats in round number 3, you will end up in an equal 17th. And here are a couple other riders. Alex Uranga talking it up with some friends. He was out there earlier today to finish off that round number 2, the last heat, where he beat out Miguel Macias in an incredible start to the day.
Man, there's a wave approaching. These riders taking a look, and they decide to just slip over the back of it while this thing just rifles on the reef shelf. Wow, heavy waves today, and just one of the best stages for bodyboarding. Just even just wave riding in general, I'd have to say bodyboarding at Fronton, probably some of the best wave riding you're going to see on planet Earth.
Yeah, this is and this is only just a glimpse of what's in store for the next couple days as far as the waves are concerned. But taking a look, paddling through this, and so much water. Just, I mean, the power here, the whitewash is, it's just a big mountain of energy unloading, coming closer to the cliff here. We're about maybe I want to say 50, 60 feet above the water's edge, and seeing these waves unload on the reef, it's just amazing from this distance, and knowing that it is bigger out in the water, it's pretty scary. And there's another wave unloading right here. Look at that, just taking up your entire screen, and boom.
Oh my goodness.
If you can hear the boom that we hear from high atop the cliff, it's one of those things. If you ever, I'm telling you right now, if you got to put in your vacation time for your work, make Gran Canaria a trip during this event a possibility, because you want to be here. They cater to the tourists here, hands down. Everybody has been nice since we've been here. Here's another look at what's currently the situation out in the water.
And with about 12 minutes remaining, still these guys with only average scores on the board, waiting to see something just a little bit more exciting in the way of scoreline, as we just continue to see these empty waves just absolutely barrel themselves to pieces as they continue to spit out into the channel. And wow, it's getting humid because of how much water is being misted upon the cliff by these spitting barrels.
It's pretty insane out there. But let's talk about Jonathan Vega's situation right now. He's behind the priority. He has second priority. We just seen just a flurry of 2 to 3 perfectly unridden waves. Well, I mean, it's for him to come inside and to get nailed by a set is what he has to deal with if he wants to come in, because he only needs a 4.16 to advance on. So is he playing it safe, or is he just waiting out there without priority?
I think, there is what you brought up, Manny, the risk involved. There's also the fact of the matter that even the rides that they have ridden, some of them have been a bit bigger, haven't eventuated to much bigger scores. And then there's the shape of these waves as they come in on screen, with the way that they're spitting and just the beautiful definition of the lip line. It looks amazing. But to be out there and actually ride them, to actually get into the barrel and be deep enough to get a score and be able to exit that same barrel, I mean, that's something that tripped up both these riders right off the bat, was incomplete barrel rides. And they weren't necessarily as deep as Miguel Macias was in his 8.67, but that's why Miguel got the 8.67, because he escaped that barrel and he was deep and it was a bigger wave. So these guys are going to be checking each wave very critically, and Jonathan Vega and Amoy Laverne know this wave very well. So even though it might look kind of perfect to us, they got a keen eye for what exactly is an awesome wave, and I feel that that's part of the wave selection that they're bringing to the table here in heat number 1 of round 3.
Not only are they very critical on what is happening out in the water because of their heat, but I can look over my shoulder right now and just see a lot of the riders who are in round number 3, just eyes are on the water, looking at what these riders are doing, looking at what the waves are doing, so they are ready and prepped for when their
we've
heat
got
comes
some
up.
paddling going on here. Let's see if we have a ride. No ride.
Oh,
so Ma's letting that one go. It was so thick and heavy. Wow. That one looked hard to ride personally, but I think too. Moss is using his priority.
Oh
He's
my
gonna wait
goodness.
until Jonathan makes him paddle.
Oh my
And
goodness.
Does
Oh
look like
my,
Moss is
look
up
at
and riding
this.
on this one. And he's able to get down into the curtain. He's able to get a really nice pocket ride. With the way that wave spit, it was hard to tell if he was even in the barrel. But let's see, because there's a little inside glimpse to the judges area. I'm not sure we should even have that view. But the judges are waiting to deliberate, compare. Sorry, not deliberate, but compare the scores and find out previous rides if exactly where they should go with that number. We do see Jonathan Vega having a look out the back. Beautiful wave, and he is very deep on this one, Manny.
Oh, is he going to get out of there?
Wow.
No. He got caught behind the section again.
And it just ran away from him that time. So now with just over 7 minutes remaining, we're seeing this heat take shape in a more real fashion as these rides are just so critical to get into. And I think during this replay we'll see Maz
look at that ledge.
gets down into that pocket. He's not really in the barrel, but that wave spits, and then he's gonna get a little cover up just right there, but he was in a critical section of the wave the whole time, and it was a beautiful wave. But as far as actually getting a barrel ride, let's see. Jonathan here, he's going to get definitely deep in this barrel, but actually too deep as this wave starts moving really fast along the reef. And there, even if he came out of that first section, that next section went way in front of him.
Look at that thing. Oh my. I mean, a lot of the waves are coming in. I'm going to say there's a lot more better waves and a lot more closing out waves here, but it's just a matter of if you have priority and if you're in that spot to be able to take off in the right area. But yeah, a lot of these waves are going to be more makeable than not. But again, it's just a matter of being in that right location to be able to pull off that deep barrel. So scores are coming in.
Does look like 9.0 for that massive pocket ride from Moz, who got spit on. Actually got so covered by the spit, it was easy to believe that he was in the barrel because of how hard it spit. And then he did actually get a little cover up at the end of that, but it was critical to scoop in there and to be where he was and to survive that spit. This was critical. He got there. He even looked outside to the shore, and he had clear view of it. That was the critical part, being covered by foam. And there, we saw just the teeniest bit of water actually cover him up. So you could say that he did at one point get actually barreled on that one. But
And there
9 points. Airlifts. We're lifting off. Drone is here.
We're going to send that thing out, and I believe we do have a live feed from the drone heading out right now. So it's going to be a pretty unique shot to see what it's like out in the water in the lineup. We got a double drone attack out there, and there are
hopefully it won't be a drone war where they battle each other. And hopefully they steer clear in the airspace of each other there. But we do want to get that live view to you, the viewer. Thanks so much for tuning in to the APB 2016 final event here at El Fronton, the Fronton King.
This is where we will not only find out who the winner is of the 2016 Fronton King, but we will also find out who will become the 2016 APB World Bodyboarding Tour World Champion.
Yeah, huge accolade, and to have 5 riders now battling it out for a possible world title. To keep his title hopes alive, each of these guys needs to continue throughout the event. So Amoy Laverne, he needs to make it out of this heat if he wants a chance at getting the title.
Amoy Laverne, this is his situation. as provided by the statsman Craig Haddon. Aubrey Laverne must make it to the grand final, and everybody else must lose in this round. So that is a slim chance, and that is where Aubrey Laverne is situated right now. So if he makes it out of this heat and everybody in contention loses in this round, then if Aubrey Laverne makes it to the grand final and everybody else loses in round number 3, who is up for a world title, then Aubrey will become the world champion. But that is a very, very slim chance, as there are so many riders that are capable of making it out of round 3. The other riders, of course. And here's a look at some of the spectators and athletes.
Those are actually competitors, but they are spectating at this point, Manny, and they are glued to the action. And, you know, not a lot of friendly faces, really. They were really intense and focused and really just kind of mesmerized, maybe even a little intimidated. I know I am by these waves. And so, you know, you could kind of read it on some of the expressions on their faces, like, okay, this is it. This is game time. This is the Fronton King.
And it's going to happen with as soon as we're rolling. It's happening right now. Round number 3, elimination heat number 1 out in the water. We do have Jonathan Vega behind the 8 ball right now, taking a look at this right now. Oh, pulls back on that one. So Jonathan Vega not going on this. Oh, looking like a clean barrel, as you can see, just hitting the inside reef.
It ran a bit fast from where he was, so he kind of saw that and sensed it as he took a look at it, that probably wasn't going to be able to make it through that initial section. But yeah, wave selection, just probably one of the keys out here. Of course, it's manhandling these waves and actually pulling it off. Let's take a look at Jonathan Vega. He has just a quick look, but doesn't commit. I think that could have been something that would have helped his cause. But hey, the cojones it takes to commit to these waves, Manny. I mean, the water's drawing up off the reef. It's sucking out. It's a little similar to Tehupo, where you actually need to fight the inertia of the water that's drawing off the reef, which makes it more difficult to access these rides, makes it more intense to commit to them. It also makes it much more difficult to ride them, because fighting that inertia and then getting a bottom turn, very difficult. Let's see Moz here as he's up and riding. Gets a massive aerial maneuver. Hard to tell what that was. Looked like potentially an ARS. He completes it. Lots of commitment there as we wait for potentially one more ride to come in for Jonathan Vega as we count down this heat. We're in the final minute now. Just about 15 seconds remaining. It does look like just one more ride will come in potentially for Jonathan. His last chance here. So we see him hustling. There's a beautiful view there with the drone shot, and he does get into this one, and he's trying to stall. He hopes for a nice big roll. He does get the roll, and as he lands that roll, he ends up just getting sucked over the falls. So, wow, Jonathan Vega falling to one of the contenders in this world title race, Aubrey Laverne.
Jonathan Vega needed an 8.84 for that last wave, and I don't think that was enough, but if that was not an 8.84 for Jonathan Vega, then it would be Aubrey Laverne moving on out of round number 3. So, Dave, one more time, the conditions here are off the chains.
They are definitely off of the chains. They are amazing, incredible. All these excited riders and guests of the athletes are just amped on these amazing conditions. They are super fired up to know if a world title will be crowned today or one of the next days. And so, wow, we're going to be pushing through round number 3, and we will be moving into heat number 2 of round number 3.
Check this out. We are going to be right back right after this.
Stay with us.
Life is nourished by experiences that make you grow. So choose a destination where the climate is great all year round, where there's a new, thrilling landscape to discover every day. A destination full of unforgettable moments for you and for everyone. Choose a great destination. Choose Gran Canaria.
Gran Canaria se ha convertido en punto de referencia para la celebración de grandes pruebas deportivas, ofreciendo tanto a residentes como visitantes sus magníficas condiciones durante todo el año. Seguir creciendo es labor de todos. Participa y apoya el deporte en tu isla. Gran Canaria, Isla Europea del Deporte.
We'll just have this even.
All right, well, we are back live, getting our last little notes here situated because we want to make sure we're giving you the updated information here at the 2016 Fronton King. And let me tell you, so far so good. Live action, out in the water. Heat number 2 of round number 3, elimination round, out into the water. So let's get out there.
And this heat is Antonio Cardoso and Mike Stewart. Mike Stewart up and riding on this left-hander, and he scoops in and gets a beautiful barrel there. And does he make it out? Hard to tell.
Mike Stewart drawing first blood out there. He's out there in the yellow jersey. Antonio Cardoso from Portugal in red. Once again, welcome everybody for tuning in to the 2016 Fronton King. This is where we will find the winner of the Fronton King, and also 5 riders are still battling it out for a world title.
Indeed, indeed. Very exciting day, not only of the intense action that each heat will bring us, but also the world title implications on the line that we continue to bring up. Antonio Cardoso scooping into this right-hander. Beautiful deep barrel, and he comes out cleanly. And Antonio Cardoso's got to be stoked with his start here in round number 3 of the Fronton King.
Right now there is no priority, and red and yellow paddling back out, but it looks like Mike Stewart has an edge, and he will be making it to the outside before Antonio Cardoso. But yeah, a solid first away for the Portuguese. No stranger to the big surf. We have known him to tackle the massive waves of Praia del Norte in Nazaré, where we just were for that last event. Unfortunately, he didn't have a good run there, but he is here focused and ready with his fellow Portuguese riders, Miguel Adao and Dino Carmo, along with Juan Carlos Pinheiro. The Portuguese want to put a stamp of, we are here to ride the big waves of El Fronton, and Antonio Cardoso looking solid with a 6.63 on that first wave. Mike Stewart turning around, taking a look.
He's up and riding on this beautiful right-hander, scoops in, great clean barrel, even launches out of it. Another difficult maneuver to detect because these guys are, you know, pushing it so hard that they're almost in the lip and a lot of white water around them when they perform these maneuvers. So forgive us for not initially detecting each maneuver, but on the replay, we'll call it out for you.
Yeah, a couple solid rides right there from both of these riders. Mike Stewart, multiple world champion, and he's been smiling since the event got underway this morning. And if you follow Mike Stewart on his Facebook page, you can see his point of view once he's videotaping on his Facebook Live. But Jake Romero, he is very focused as well. He'll be coming up in heat number 3 against the Portuguese Dino Carmo. And Dino Carmo is very excited to get out there as well. But Jacob Romero is going to be very fun to watch out there. If he gets any opportunity to hit the lip, be prepared.
Oh, be prepared. And he loves thick, heaving, barreling, and ramping right-handers. So, you know, as much as he tears the bag on the left, so to speak, I expect him to be really pushing the envelope on these rights, which to me I think have the edge over what we've seen. We've seen some great lefts, but mostly incredible rights coming in today at El Fronton.
Right now, out of the water, we do have Antonio Cardoso leading with a 6.63. I'm sorry, that has not been updated. So
Mike Stewart did get a 7.17 for his last barrel to roll, and his first ride was a 5, so he's actually sitting in the lead. But Antonio does have a 6 on his scorecard, 6.33, so he's going to need a short 6 or maybe a high 5 to get there.
A couple of the competitors here thinking about what's in store next for them, whether it's coming up in the next heat or to just think about what went down. Here's another look at that big left that Mike Stewart got earlier today, but live action. Oh my, just coming out of the cavern. Mike Stewart with his clean, perfect drawn lines out in the water. So Mike Stewart having a heyday in El Fronton so far.
Yeah, that was terrific. Mike Stewart was able to scoop in under the priority of Antonio Cardoso, who's sitting out there waiting since his first ride. And he was able to get a really nice ride to quickly back up that 7.17. Probably ditches his 5. A 7.77 now for Mike Stewart on the last of his efforts. And I think it was because the depth of the barrel that he got.
All right, there you have it on your scorecard, 8.61 Antonio Cardoso, but in these conditions, totally possible if he just can get a massive wave and pull in, come out, and if he can pull off a maneuver on his exit, that's only going to catapult his score a little bit higher if he lands it cleanly and out in front of the wave. So a big shout out to a couple friends, Christian Rojas in Costa Rica and Pete Moore, who's tuning in from Australia as well. And they're watching the live feed. Epic showdown going down right here at El Fronton. Jacob Romero will be coming up next, and he is getting ready. And a little pep talk right there from Ryan Hardy.
Exactly. Ryan Hardy recently picked up Jacob Romero onto his Reflex team. There we can see them exchanging words and exchanging some pleasantries with you, the folks at home, with big smiles and even a couple of shakas. As I know that the supporters of Jacob Romero will be, if they haven't already, be tuning in to this Fronton King, the APB Tour's final stop of the Men's Pro World Tour. As we do take a look at that replay, and there's Mike Stewart, nice and deep, comes flying out. There he's adjusting the line, puts a cute carve there before finishing off, and that was the main score. As you mentioned, when he showed up this morning, he was pumped, he was fired up, he was super stoked because the waves looked big and barreling, and that's what Mike Stewart lives for, big barrels. He just can't get enough. So see if he even takes a look at this one under the priority of Antonio Cardoso. Opts not to go, probably using selection to the extent and thinking, yeah, it's probably not better than a 7. He's already got 2 of them, Manny. So he's going to need to take off on a wave that can better his 7. His lowest one is a 7.17. So, you know, if it doesn't look like it's going to be a mid 7 or an 8, he might as well just stick out there. It will be hard to resist, especially for a guy like Mike Stewart, to not be going on these rad waves that are coming in, but he's got a ton of experience competing, 9-time world champion, so he does know how to surf a heat as well as just free surf epic conditions.
I'm loving the drone shot right now, coming to you live from El Fronton on the northwest corner of Gran Canaria and the Canary Islands. And we just posted on the APB Facebook page.
Where you at?
Where you at? That's right. So we want to hear where you're tuning in from and what time it is. I've already gotten a few messages saying it's 1 a.m. in the morning, and they're going to stay awake to see this incredible action unfold round number 3. Heat number 2 currently out in the water, and we are underway.
Amazing, amazing, amazing stuff. And heat number 2 is our third heat of the day because we did close out heat number 16. Round number 2 was finished first thing this morning. That was the first heat of the day. And now we are diving right in head first, which is not often advised, but diving in head first into round number 3. This is heat 2. Coming up next, Dino Carmo and Jacob Romero. So as we bring you the shots, there it is, Dino Carmo. He's suiting up. We've shown you Jacob Romero a few times. Now here's a look at the Nazarene from Nazaré, Portugal, representing Praia do Norte. As you can see it on his wetsuit there, that was the previous stop to this on the Men's World Tour. And Dino Carmo is getting set to go. And let's see live action. It's Mike Stewart up on a nice looking left, and he floats the boat with a cute little air forward maneuver. And he's just staying active.
Yeah, it's good to keep the muscles moving. If you wait too long and you got to sprint into these waves, it's good to keep the muscles warm. Dino Carmo, same place where Antonio Cardoso is from. Praia do Norte hits these shallow sandbars with a ton of speed as well, and it's almost it's not exactly the same, but you still need to be able to have that paddle power to get to the bottom, and we call it scoop, where you actually scoop off the bottom on your bottom turn and slide under the lip before the lip hits you and get inside of that barrel. So the scooping technique needs to be mastered before you can get into these types of waves. Here's another look at Mike Stewart.
And we see him eyeing up that section. From the very start, he was hoping for a big ramp, and he did get into the air there with a nice clean forward, air forward, lands it clean, even stays flat palmed there, and then just dives out of that wave very abruptly. Probably knew that that wasn't going to be a massive score, but still pulled off a very cool maneuver. Mike Stewart surfing an active heat. He's dominating Antonio Cardoso. Antonio needs an 8.61, something like that best wave of heat number 16 of round number 2, rather, from Miguel Marcias would do it. And so we are waiting, possibly gonna get a interview from Amaury Laverne. Not quite sure.
Yeah, we're setting things up right now. This is the solid first day of broadcast from this event. We can't thank you enough for hanging in there. We wanted to make sure we brought you the best 3 days, the last 3 days of the 2016 Fronton King. And so far, so good. We got waves. The competitors are amped. And we do have the waves. I mean, the waves is the most incredible thing that we have here at our feet, or actually down on the water's edge below the cliff here. We do have some solid waves coming in. And again, a little quick update on the situation as far as the swell and the tide here at El Fronton.
Well, the swell has picked up overnight and has given us this beautiful long period swell that's just roping in. We expect it to hold throughout the day. And the tide, that won't stay static, Manny, because as the moon circles around the planet Earth, it pulls the surface water that we have. So we'd like that to stay steady and stay high tide all day, but that's not going to happen. So it's going to start dropping after the tide peaks pretty soon here. As we see, Jacob Romero suiting up. He's got that jersey on, and he's going to be heading down those stairs and making his way to the water's edge. So, back to the conditions. That tide's going to start dropping. We're going to keep an eye on what's in front of us. What's in front of the cameraman downstairs right now is Dino Carmo. He's preparing. And we will be moving through round 3, doing as much as we can while the conditions stay favorable. And then during the low tide that will be happening in the middle of the day, take a break and hopefully come back this afternoon to surf more heats as the tide comes back up.
And that's what we are at the mercy of, the tides here at El Fronton. But I mean, look what we get when the waves are solid. Perfect waves, lefts and rights, and just unloading on the shallow reef. So right now, the current situation out in the water, Mike Stewart is leading.
There's a big wave approaching, Manny. This wave looks solid. And
oh my!
Antonio is scooping into this one. He is well inside the belly of the beast there, and he comes out of that one.
Oh my goodness.
And even gets a little bonus section on the inside. He lifts his hand. The competitors and all the spectators here on the hillside are just going crazy for that one. And I think he's going to get the score he needs, Manny, because that was probably the best wave we've seen all morning.
That was incredible. Antonio Cardoso looking for a solid 8.61. And with that wave, he's definitely going to be really close, if not
knocking at the door.
Yes, so Antonio Cardoso, are they going to let him into that first place spot? That is the question, and look at that.
8.33, ever so close, just knocking at the door, now needing a 6.61, and you know, that would have fired up Mike Stewart, who's out the back. Let's take a look at the replay here. This thing was throaty. It was solid. He scoops into it. There's that paddle power. Here's the scoop that Manny was talking about. Almost airdrops a little bit. And there he is, just well within the inside curl of that tubular beastly wave. And there's that little bonus section there in the inside. So a very similar ride to what Amory Laverne had in his heat, and a similar score being dropped for Antonio Cardoso.
So now he's in within striking distance, needing a 6.61. Antonio Cardoso. Mike Stewart has priority, so if he uses that, we got 8 minutes remaining in this 25-minute heat, so plenty of time for Antonio Cardoso to get that 6.61. But priority is in Mike Stewart's hands, which means Mike Stewart has the opportunity to catch any wave that comes his way and essentially fend off Antonio Cardoso from what could be potentially that 6.61 wave. But look at this. Mike Stewart letting this one go. Antonio Cardoso dropping in.
Wow, he's got a nice line there. The wave kind of running away from him, but he does look to hit a huge roll on the inside. Boy, if that was turbulent, and he does not complete that maneuver and gets washed around quite violently, but he does make it back onto his board, and he's going to scramble to get back out to the outside. So good call there from Mike Stewart to let Antonio go on that inside wave, as it won't amount to the score he needs to overtake Mike Stewart from the lead, which he is holding now in this heat with just about 7 minutes to go.
Again, thank you all for tuning in from all over the world. A shout out again to Gran Canaria, the European sports island. I second that. Can't wait to get back out in the water and hit the mountains. But currently out in the water, Mike Stewart again leading the charge. Antonio Cardoso from Praia del Norte in Nazaré, Portugal, needs a 6.61. Priority is with Mike Stewart. Mike Stewart can hold on to that priority and wait for the biggest wave or bigger wave to come through and let anything else go by for Antonio Cardoso. But Antonio Cardoso, very, very tough situation because there is essentially a one area, one little takeoff zone. So he has to sit next to Mike Stewart if he wants to be in the right position to catch a solid wave. Any other beach break or any other wave, you can paddle away and try to find your own little peak down the beach. But here at El Fronton, you have to be sitting next to each other to get that perfect takeoff zone. So, yes, Manny V and David Hubbard bringing you the live feed from the 2016 Fronton King out in the water. Mike Stewart in yellow leading this heat. Antonio Cardoso in red looking for a 6.61.
And boy, we've had action this morning. We hope the action can continue as long as Mother Nature will allow it to. and we are anticipating at some point that the tide will get too low, and we will have to put the event on hold until the tide comes back up. And so, you know, just to go back and touch on what Manny was saying, you're, you know, completely right in so far as this is just one area, and it's a reef break, so this is just one reef shelf. They can't go down the beach necessarily. They can't go over to a different peak. It's one peak. At the same time, I would say that Fronton is very unique. As heavy as it is out here, there are several different takeoff areas. Let's take a look at this replay here of Antonio. You can see the commitment on his face. He gets that speed. Now he's eyeing up that section. Beautiful shot here as he launches himself up and into the air. Nice clean rollo there. And it looked like as if he could land that, but so much water converging behind him that it absolutely just swallowed him whole. He did everything right on that one, but the wave just said, not today, toe.
Waiting patiently out in the water. We got a couple seconds to give a couple shout outs. We posted on our ABB Facebook page. We got Teza McKenna and the Nui crew.
Yeah,
waiting for Garth
we
McGregor.
miss you, brother.
Garth McGregor has a bunch of fans watching and waiting for his heat to come up. Matt Mollison is waiting for the GMAC heat, as well as Matt Burgess in Victoria, Australia. GMAC has a pretty solid following. And
GMAC's got a huge following.
They're waiting for GMAC to come up. He's going to be facing off the one and only Eder Luciano from Brazil in heat number 5. So stay tuned. That will be coming up. Joaquin is on a plane from Bali to Bangkok, tuning in live, and Gordon Cockwell is in Sydney. So I'm going to be hitting this list that has come down the pipeline on our APB Facebook page, and we want to know where you're at. Time is winding down. Mike Stewart in the lead. Antonio Cardoso needing a 6.61. 2 minutes, 30 seconds remaining, and that's what is at stake right now for Antonio Cardoso. Mike Stewart has priority. Will he use that to his advantage?
We'll have to wait and see. He has been playing a very skillful game with Antonio. He's been waiting on the side. Let's take another look at this monster that Antonio just airdropped into. This is the best wave of the heat so far, 8.33. There we can see him catching some shade as he definitely gets into the barrel there. And as the wave spits, he does emerge victorious and then gets that bonus section. Very difficult wave to ride. I would have put it on the other side of Maz's 9, on the higher side. But the judges saying not quite as critical as Maz's wave. Now let's see what happens in the last few minutes here. Priority is going to be a very critical matter here. Antonio's going to have to push the issue and force Mike to go on this wave. There's the paddle from Antonio, ushering Mike into this one. Mike scoops in, gets a nice clean barrel. He's able to escape it, and as he gets to the inside section, he does find another barrel. So that leaves Antonio Cardoso out the back with just about a minute remaining. Now Antonio is free to catch the next wave that he can, but time is limited, Manny.
Look at Mike Stewart. He's not going to come in after that wave. He's going to paddle back out, noting that there is still some time on the clock, and you're going to see all the competitors in these heats. They're going to take full advantage of every single second in this heat. Mike Stewart using every bit of energy to get back out there for any situation that could come up. If Antonio Cardoso catches a smaller wave, it'll leave Mike Stewart out there alone. And there are some whistling. Looks like Antonio Cardoso paddling around. Antonio Cardoso dropping in. Here he goes, Antonio Cardoso.
He's getting a super deep shack there. He makes it out. The score required is a 6.61, and he got a beautiful barrel, Manny. I think it's now up to the judges whether or not that was going to be a big enough or deep enough barrel for him to get there. But again, I think he's knocking at the door.
3, 2.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, that is the end of the heat. We're going to come back with the official results, and we're going to come back with more. We're going to have more action today. That was the end of heat number 2 out in the water. Mike Stewart and Antonio Cardoso. So we're waiting for those final scores to drop. 6.61 is what Antonio Cardoso was hoping for. The question is, was that wave enough? And it looks like we are going to be counting down the start of that next heat out in the water. It is Jacob Romero and Dino Carmo. Jacob Romero from Hawaii will be in red. Dino Carmo will be in the yellow jersey. So, wow, look at the waves still coming through.
Yeah, the waves are still pumping, and I do believe the next heat has counted down. So we are into heat number 3 of round number 3, and we are fired up to bring you this action here at the Fronton King.
The waves are pumping.
Waves are pumping.
Sun is out. The crowd is starting to show up. It's Saturday morning, and this whole area definitely is going to be packed here on the cliffs of El Fronton. Plus, we know you're tuning in from around the world. We do have a Facebook where you at post, so let us know where you're tuning in from and what time it is, and we'll start attacking that list as we get this heat underway. Again, out in the water in the red jersey, Jacob Romero, Dino Carmo from Praia del Norte, Nazaré, Portugal. And oh my goodness, that is what we're talking about right there. Any section thrown at Jacob Romero, he's going to take flight.
Jacob Romero going for a big air reverse and incomplete maneuver there. But wow, wicked attempt, and great to see guys hitting the lip here at the Fronton King.
Out in the water again, Jacob Romero in the red jersey from Maui, Hawaii, and Dino Carmo from Praia del Norte, Nazaré, Portugal. Both of them, no strangers to the big waves and no fear when it comes to hitting the lip for big, massive maneuvers.
And these riders just making their way back out. The rider in the green, that's actually a photographer, not a rider, but he's using his boogie board. It was assisted out there by the jet ski, and the riders in the previous heat to come in here at El Fronton at this size, typically you want to come back in on the left. So a lot of these riders are paddling back out and around the peak and then into the channel on the left-hander. So if you see multiple colors of one jersey out there, you can note that it is just riders coming in. So we do have the official results from the previous heat, and it is Mike Stewart moving on to round 3. Antonio Cardoso falling just short, only receiving a 4.93 for his final ride. So Antonio Cardoso putting on a valiant effort. For me, his performance was well worth advancing on into round 3, but the judges deemed it differently. Mike Stewart moving on. Antonio Cardoso got to hold his head up high. We see some unreal waves detonating on the outside as this heat is well underway. And let's wait to see if Dino Carmo strikes. Does look like Jacob Romero.
Oh my.
Or
Dino
that's
Carmo.
Dino.
Is he going to come out of this big gutter? No, he's just caught way far behind, but just the amount of courage and energy it takes to drop into these monster slabs on the shallows, and there he is. He's okay. But look at the rash guard coming up and over. He's feeling his head. I don't know if that was a signal for help or a signal that he's okay, but keep an eye on him. Yeah, I think he may be calling the jet ski, but his rash guard is up and over his head. We want to make sure that he is okay. That's the last thing we want here, is to make sure our riders are okay. Our riders to get hurt. The jet ski finally saw him. He's paddling over there. But again, where he dropped in was probably one of the most dangerous parts of the reef. It's like on the shallow, on the right side, and he's just making. He looks like he's paddling towards the jet ski right now, but he it looked like he was touching his head, making sure everything was okay. But man, he dropped in on the gnarliest part of the wave, and that is what's out here. I mean, he's actually just gotten onto the jet ski, and I mean, he made no effort to pull that rash guard up and over his head. So I'm guessing he's hurt.
Well, you can see, I think that rash guard got shredded, and I could see it on both of his arms still, but it is not over the back. There we do see people are attending. Yeah, that rash guard just got ripped right in half. So that rash guard has been just totally blasted apart, and yeah, they are checking him out. Hopefully everything is okay. He was able to paddle himself out of that impact zone and get himself to the jet ski, so we're hoping that he is going to be all right.
Oh my
and
God.
It does look like the jet ski is taking him a bit farther out, just into a safer place to kind of scope him out there. Jacob Romero left into the lineup alone now.
Well,
so
they do have an emergency response protocol in place. So, I mean, there is a small little port just to the west of us here on the northwest side of the island, and I think they're going to just get him over there as quickly as possible. We'll give you an update on his condition as soon as we find out. But I'm pretty sure he's going to be okay. He made the paddle over to the jet ski out.
So Jacob Romero getting out of a nice barrel there. Jacob Romero, you know, now with his competitor having left the water, it does look like the next heat is accessing the lineup early. Hopefully they are going to be prepared to surf an early heat, because it looks like heat number 3 will be ending prematurely due to an unfortunate occurrence with Dino Carmo.
We're gonna find out if everything's okay. I mean, like I said, he was able to paddle over to the jet ski. Here's just the giant, massive barrel that Jake Romero had at his last wave coming out of there. So Jake Romero clocking in a last solid wave right there. So we're gonna confirm right now to make sure that we can go ahead with the next heat. But again, Dino Carmo from Praia do Norte, Portugal, showing no fear, dropping in on one of the biggest sets of the morning in one of the shallowest parts of the reef here.
It's so hot.
So they are
where
going
you
to
are.
take him over
Slovenia is
to
better.
the little port village just to the west of us called Caleta. And the jet ski, it's literally maybe half a mile to a mile to the west of us here, and that's where we have the emergency response crew with the ambulance and the paramedics there on standby for situations like this. But we're going to give you the information. Dino Carmo has left the water. Jake Romero out there by himself now in heat number 3. Again, this place is, I'm telling you, man, I paddled out there last time I was here in 3 to 4 or 5 foot waves, and it was pretty heavy. I mean, it's really shallow, and these guys out on their bodyboards are no fear at all in the shallows here at El Fronton. So again, standing by, waiting to hear the call from the officials, whether to keep Jacob out there for the remainder of his 25-minute heat, or to call it and head over to continue on with heat number 4 and heat number. So they are going to keep him out there, I believe, for the remainder of the heat.
Last red 567. Last red 5.67.
So
red your first.
Jake Romero, I mean, if he comes out of the water, he'll be fine. He'll advance on, but if he wants to have El Fronton perfect conditions to himself,
He could do that too.
he can do that too.
So we do have the jet ski returning to the lineup, and Dino Carmo is not on board the jet ski. So it does look like Jacob Romero has the rest of the heat to himself. And
Was the rash guard pulled over, or was it shredded to pieces?
I think it was shredded.
Man, I took a swim out there, and there are all these little pinnacle shells on, and here's a live action on the reef. So Jacob, he's just gonna out there and just play it safe, just stay safe and stay uninjured. But he will continue to ride out these waves and ride out this heat. But again, it's kind of got a flat rock shelf out there, but there are these barnacles on the reef that are really sharp. And yeah, if your the rash guard or your head hits any of that or body, it could shred anything to pieces. So we will give you the update on Dino Carmo. But again, he looked well enough to paddle to the jet ski, get onto the jet ski's rescue board, and get hauled off to the small port just the west of us in Caleta. So there's Jacob Romero with the videographer out in the water wearing the green jersey.
And Jacob's probably trying to get a little bit of information right here, because this is a very, difficult situation for everybody right now. To be in the heat and have your opponent injured, that's nerve-wracking. You're not only concerned about your opponent, but then you're thinking, wow, if he got injured, so could I. And so now he's just kind of talking to the guys on the side, kind of seeing if they know a little bit more information about the current situation. It does look like the heat number 4 is being sent out into the water. So Alex Udonga and Guillermo Cobo have been sent out into the water. They were also concerned as well. They just saw Dino Carmo get potentially injured, and they were hoping that the event would be called off because they feel that the tide might be getting too low. Contest officials feel that they could get at least one more heat done. So Guillermo Cobo and Alex Udonga making their way down. Does look like once they are in position, the heat currently in the water will be called off, but for now Jacob Romero can surf.
Counting down.
But
5, 4.
update
3,
is
2,
this heat has been
1.
counted down. It is now
It is
over.
off.
Jacob Romero has made it on into round 3 due to the unfortunate occurrence
Red,
of Dino
your
Carmo
last
being
wave
injured.
was 6.5.
Alex Udonga and Guillermo Cobo are now making their way down the cliff. They have their jerseys. They're going to paddle out, and then we're going to be moving on into heat number 4.
All right, so we're gonna continue on with the action. Don't go anywhere. We're gonna give you an update. We're gonna give you an update with Dino Carmo, and we're gonna give you more epic action here from El Fronton. So don't go anywhere. We'll be back right after this. Welcome back.
Life is nourished by experiences that make you grow. So choose a destination where the climate is great all year round. With
It looks like we will. So we are still waiting for the update from Dino Carmo, who was injured in that last heat, taken off on a massive bomb, but unfortunately wasn't able to get all the way to the bottom and engage that rail. So we're going to give you an update on Dino Carmo, who was injured in that last heat, which means Jacob Romero advances on out of that last round, heat number 3.
And just, an exciting start to the day. Unfortunately, an injury has occurred with Dino Carmo, and like Manny said, we're going to give you an update as soon as we get the information. He has been returned to shore. He is seeing a medic on site, and we do have that jet ski back in the water for the safety of the riders who are behind us, and we hear massive sets hitting the reef right behind us. And Guillermo Cobo Alex Uranga, who already had a heat this morning, they're making their way back into the lineup, and huge waves are breaking behind us. That's the view live right behind us here at El Fronton.
Yeah, I mean, the water's breaking on these shallows. It's just shaking the cliff. I mean, it's pretty massive out in the water right now. And it's pretty massive out in the water. The shaky, I mean, it feels like it's just shaking the entire cliff here once the waves hit the shallows. It's pretty intense out there and pretty heavy. And the best riders in the world, the best bodyboarders in the world are here to do battle for not only the title of the 2000 Fronton King champion, but also there are 5 riders up for a world title here at this event.
Exactly that. In this heat is one of them. Because Alex Uranga made it into round number 3, he's still in that title hunt, and he needs to make it out of round number 3 to continue on his hunt for a world title. Alex Uranga is sitting the farthest away from that world title trophy. His situation and the potential road to that title is much more difficult than the rest of the riders. He will need most of these riders to stop here in round 3, and even potentially 1 or 2 might be able to make it into round 4, but they can't go any further, and Alex Uranga still has to win this entire event for him to get the world title. But there is a shot, and he is in the running for a world title, so let's see if he's able to make it out of this heat and continue his hopes for that.
All right, we're going to come back with that heat number 4, Alex Uranga and Guillermo Cobo. Don't go anywhere. We're going to come back with more epic action right after this.
Experiences that make you grow. So choose a destination where the climate is great all year round, where there's a new thrilling landscape to discover every day. A destination full of unforgettable moments for you and for everyone. Choose a great destination. Choose Gran Canaria.
I feel like I'm gonna drop real soon. My mind's hurting, I'm over the moon. Pulses sagging out, I'm losing the pace. It's the way you feel, man, now the way you taste. Rebel, rebel, I see you with your gun.
Hay un lugar en Gran Canaria que es reducto de tradiciones, un lugar en la costa para contemplar nuestras alturas, un lugar en las alturas para ver la inmensidad del mar. Ven a descubrir nuestro pasado y traerlo hasta el presente. Patrimonio etnográfico, cultural, gastronómico. Altos de Galdar. Saborea nuestro paisaje.
Welcome back, everybody. Manny V here with David Hubbard, bringing you the epic action going down here at the 2016 Fronton King. We've already had an exciting morning. We finished off that first round of round number 2 with Alex Uranga winning that heat against Miguel Macias. Now we are going to see Alex Uranga one more time. Heat number 4 out in the water, Alex Uranga against Guillermo Cobo.
Guillermo Cobo is definitely one of the favorites, and he is a previous king of Fronton. He's won this event before, and he is incredibly talented. He's won events, I believe, like Sintra, and has done really well on the World Tour previously. Now he's just residing in Gran Canaria, and he is competing here as a wild card and looking to take a hold of that trophy of being the Fronton King once again, but standing in his way is one of the fellows in the world title hunt, Alex Uranga.
Alex Uranga, very strong competitor, not only in the small beach breaks, but also in the big heavy stuff. No fear from Alex Uranga, who is currently on a world title hunt. Guillermo Como, you are right, 2014, winning against Dailos Rodriguez here at the Fronton King. And there you have it, Alex Uranga out in the water, and Guillermo Como. Guillermo's in yellow, Alex in red. Big quick shout out before we count down the start here. Nicole is tuning in from South Africa. Heath Mac, G-Mac in Australia. Al in the UK, Chico in Portugal, Keiko in Hawaii, Sean Mills going for G-Mac, and Marco tuning in from Tijuana.
The city of the future.
All right, so again, out in the water, we have Alex Uranga, a world title contender. He has to make it into the grand final with every other contender bowing out in round number 3. A very, very slim chance. And here he is, up and riding. Alex Uranga making it to the bottom, comes in under the pocket, and he will come out of the frothy whitewash there. Alex Uranga, first wave of the heat within that first minute of the start of the heat.
Yeah, so a good start for Alex, just getting the ball moving, getting something under his belt. It's probably not going to come in at a massive number, but it will be good for him to start his campaign, and kind of probably better to start early, because as these riders are concerned, the tide continues to drop, so they might get a better chance early on in this heat. Alex scooping in, nice vertical drop, scoops there to maintain the speed, and just a lot of explosion around him as the wave broke with so much power. He comes out of the explosion, but not necessarily the barrel, but a terrific pocket ride to open up this heat for Alex Uranga.
So Alex Uranga making his way back out into the water. Guillermo Cobo, no stranger, of course, to these conditions. He is waiting patiently, and looks like he may be turning around, and here he is. Cobo dropping in, nice clean bottom turn, scoops on down under the lip, gets deep into that barrel, and he comes out looking for that inside section. He is happy with that, giving a fist to the air, so he is solid right there. Guillermo Cobo, one of the few Canary Islands still in the heat. It's still in the competition. So again, Guillermo Cobo, along with fellow Canary Island riders, Eduardo Rodriguez, Daniel Quintana, and Yere Martinez, along with Diego Cabrera and Igor Sanchez, are the Canary Island riders still in this event. So a solid wave right there for Guillermo Cobo.
This is radical stuff. Guillermo was super stoked on his ride, as the emotion was echoed up here on the cliff by his cohorts. Everybody rooting for the local here. Let's take a look at the replay as he's able to scoop into this one. He has a lot of speed. He gets that lateral movement because here he is in the barrel. Nice. Now he's traversing, and this was one of those waves that did allow some lateral movement, so he was able to travel within the barrel. There he's looking up at the cliff. He's hearing the shouts from all of these people here. There's a few Western Australians on screen, and that's how this thing's shaping up and how we're starting. This is round 3, heat number 4, and it does look like Guillermo Cobo getting a 7.5 for his opening ride. Alex Uranga with a 4.67 on his first ride. Of course, Alex Uranga representing the Basque Country. Just a very beautiful and unique part of this beautiful globe. Let's take a look now at Alex. Seems to be up and riding again. It's a very good sized wave. He gets to the bottom, and the wave just absolutely drops the hammer around him, and that was a critical one. Boy, it's intense out there, Manny.
I mean, what after seeing what happened in that last heat, what is going through the minds of the competitors, not only out in the water right now with Alex Uranga just going all out on that set, but also with the competitors coming up in the next heats?
Well, it does seem like there is a potential for this to be the final heat of the morning. We're waiting for the official word there. But yeah, great question to let the audience know what potentially is going through the minds. And I think they're probably there's a lot of emotions, let's just say that. They're focused. I mean, Alex has a world title potentially to grasp here. So he's thinking about that. Then he's thinking about how heavy these waves are. Then, potentially in his mind, he's thinking, okay, if I go down really hard, yeah, there's the definite possibility of me getting smoked, like Dino did. Mother Nature is always in control, and you can never really turn your back, as some people, advise their kids when they're learning about the ocean, never turn your back on the ocean. And I think that, saying can have farther reaches than just your body language with the ocean is, just to really never be too comfortable and never take too much for granted. And we're seeing Alex might be taking another ride here. And once we get you the live shot, we can say that he did get a barrel and make it out there. We'll get you a replay as he cuts out on some very shallow water.
All right, I believe this will be the last heat of the morning, and then we're gonna. Oh wait, back to the live action. Guillermo Cobo, we're pulling back on this shot right now to see if he made it out of that, but it looks like nope, he punched out through the back. Guillermo Cobo paddling back out. Alex Uranga far inside, so it looks like Guillermo Cobo will get that first priority back in his hands. So here's another look at Guillermo Cobo's last wave.
Here's Alex, the wave prior to Guillermo, and he did get a nice barrel. There we see, those are some of the imperfections that occur at very low tide. So as the tide continues to drop, we see less of that perfect barrel and more gurgling occurring on the shallow reef section. And there, as he tries to get away from that next section, he just gets absolutely absorbed by the commotion ensuing behind him. And now we'll queue up the replay of Guillermo's wave, bring that to you as we just take a look at some of the hip young folk. These are some of the competitors of this incredible event taking place here in Galdar.
I just got a piece of paper handed to me from Daniel Quintana, who had a little info on Dino Carmo. He was taken to the hospital. It's I mean, he is breathing, he is good, he's okay, but yeah, he did hit his face to the reef pretty hard, and hurt his back a little bit as well. So as soon as we find out more information about Dino Carmo, we're going to bring it to you as soon as we can.
Okay, so great to know. Thanks, Daniel Quintana, for bringing that information to us as soon as he could. And we wanted to share that information with all our viewers that Dino Carmo is stable and he is being taken care of. And they are going to ensure that no further injuries have occurred. They're going to take a look at where he did contact the reef and make sure that he's going to be able to have a fit recovery for the 2017 APB World Tour that we look to see Dino in next year. But as far as this event, Jacob Romero was the one who moved on from that matchup. And out in the water now, just taking a look at the scores on the board, it is a 3-6-7 for the second ride of Guillermo. And he is leading Alex Uranga in this round 3 heat 4 matchup. And it is official, after this heat, we are going to be taking a break until the tide comes back up. And so that break will take several hours, and we'll get you the next official word of the next check-in, and when we'll restart the broadcast as well as the competition of the Fronton King.
And yes, and if you want to know when we go back on, get that notification, subscribe to our APB Tour Facebook channel, and you'll be sent a notification when we go back live with the next heats, which will be it's been the pattern about anywhere between 2 2 hours to 3 hours, but don't quote me on that. Get those notifications from the APB Tour Facebook page and APB Tour YouTube channels, and subscribe on the YouTube channel, and you'll get notified if you're following on the APB Tour Facebook page as well. So we're still gonna run this heat. We're about still. How much time do we got in this heat, Dub?
I'll get you the time once it pops up on the screen there, but just taking a look at some other graphics there. We will be finishing off this heat, then taking the break. But you know, to keep his world title hopes alive, 16 minutes, and Guillermo Cobo stand in the way of Alex Udonga.
Wow. So Alex Udonga, he is a part of that World Tour contention, but Cobo right now looking really solid.
So I repeat, official information.
Again,
after this heat,
there's a ton of solid waves out here, totally makeable.
We're gonna stop.
But
hours,
now with this tide being
is
so
too
low,
It's
so low
dangerous,
that
very dangerous for competitors.
these
So
perfect
we're gonna stop
rideable
couple of
barreling
hours.
waves are going to be few and
Wait
far
for-
between. So
for
Alex
the
Udonga,
tide
he
to
has
be a
about
little bit
16.
higher.
He has some time on in his heat where he
The
can
next check-in,
find a
next call
6.1.
at 3 o'clock. 3
And
Heat
what
ride.
we do notice
So after
is
this heat, we're gonna stop
the
for
tide, when
hours,
it does
then
drop,
next call, 3
it drops
p.m.
fast, and the differences can be seen in a matter of minutes. So I would say, like I mentioned earlier, if Alex Udonga can get a quick start on that deficit that he has to Guillermo Cobo, the sooner the better, because potentially by the end of this heat, like you said, Manny, fewer and far between will be the waves that will be good and rideable. And you know, I think it was probably a good call assessing the conditions as we've been watching that. Yeah, to get this one done, because there's still some good waves out there, but you know, everybody's safety first and foremost. So we don't necessarily want to push these riders into as hectic situations that are unnecessary. So we'll be taking a break during the low tide after this heat.
All right, so out in the water right there, waiting patiently. So I got the mathematical chance Alex Udonga has is that he must win this event and everybody else must lose in round 4. So if he makes it out of this heat, there's still a possibility, but I'm telling you, the other contenders for the world title losing out, everybody losing out in round 4, very slim chance, but there is a mathematical chance for Alex Udonga to make that happen.
Yeah, and he was surfing really strong in his round 2 heat earlier this morning. He's been surfing strong all year. Here we're going to see him live on screen. Pulls up and around for maneuver there. Trying to chip away at that deficit that he has to Guillermo Cobo, who has established a lead and who has control of this heat. And he has priority now out the back.
There's still possible, I mean, a 6.16 is what he's after. And in these conditions, if you get a solid wave, you'll be able to pull off those high, you know, those mid-range scores. Those 5s and 6s are totally possible, but that wave has to come to you with the amount of time left in this heat. So Alex Udonga now has that time. He has the time out in the water. So Alex Udonga, he is still on the hunt for a world title, but again, his chances are pretty almost non-existent right now at this moment if he gets knocked out of this heat. Again, he needs to win this entire event, and everyone else must lose in round 4. So slim chance, but still a possibility for Alex Udonga. So Alex Udonga out there in the red jersey, and Guillermo Cobo. Now, here's a quick look at what we have here on our screen, on your screen. We do have, Dub, you got it.
These are the top 10 rankings right now, and as we can see, in the lead was Ian Campbell, and he's got a number of first place victories this year, and a few of the other fellas in the title hunt have single victories. But let's take a look at this one. It is Guillermo Cobo scooping into this one. He's able to get to the pocket, and he continues down. He's hoping for another maneuver. Big roll on the inside section there before cutting out. He's hoping to ditch a very small number of a 3.67, and hopefully will increase his distance over Alex Udonga, is what the rest of the folks on Gran Canaria have in mind with that score. But leaving out the back is Alex Udonga, waiting for this one. He does paddle into this one, scoops under, gets a fairly sizable barrel, and gets spit out there.
Nice.
He does a nice smooth carve before finishing off the ride in the channel.
All right. So, Dub, I'm going to hit you up one more time. How crucial that priority system is with out in these conditions. Well, as you're getting situated, the priority out at El Fronton is very critical when surfing El Fronton. There's only one real takeoff zone, one little takeoff spot out in the water. And when you have priority, you get to choose any wave that comes in through. Oh my, look at that on your screen. Oh, amazing. Unfortunately, unridden, both riders making their way out through the channel. But those waves are being are offered up. But again, the tide has changed, and we're looking at very dangerous low tide conditions. But this will be the last heat until the next call. Again, back to the priority. Priority is very crucial here, and you're going to see a few paddle battles go down as the event progresses. So, priority definitely crucial. We have Maz here.
Hi everyone.
Getting ready and situated.
Yeah. Hi Manny.
Good morning, Maz. Henri Laverne, world title contender, making it through your first heat. First-hand look. What are the conditions like out there?
Yeah, it's pretty. I don't know the words exactly. Gnarly, heavy, big, wide, dry. It's a pretty heavy condition today for that competition. I knew the sweat's going to be big. I mean, last night I was sleeping the windows open, and then during the night I can hear the sweats coming, and I just shut down the window during the night because it was just too loud.
Yeah.
And I knew like something big is going to happen in the morning. So here we are. Fronton, it's about like 8 to 10 foot sets. Tide's getting a bit too low, and we should have a big show this afternoon with the tide getting higher.
All right, we've seen a pattern on how much time that tide switches from. Give us an estimate when we will expect to see that next heat go out. A 2 hour, 3 hour?
Okay, yeah, so I think the low tide is about like at 12:30 today.
And right now the time is?
So the time now it's 10 o'clock.
Okay.
So 12:30 it's gonna be dead low. So I'm pretty sure around maybe 3 o'clock, this is when they're gonna do checking. We could have the first heat and surf until almost dark, like maybe 7:30.
Nice.
So that will be like maybe like 7-8 hits on the way. And with the tide going higher and higher, the swell should pick up too. We should see some pretty crazy action this afternoon.
All right, so there you go. You're having it firsthand. Henri Laverne winning that first heat of round number 3. So we are expecting incredible action. We are going to take a break after this heat out in the water, and then we're going to come back later in the afternoon with another epic showdown for a lot more heats as we get into round number 3. So, Henri, Maz is what all your friends and everybody around the world call you. What is the advantage of moving to Gran Canaria and calling this now your backyard?
Yeah, this is a good question. I could write a book about it.
And you probably are.
Yeah, I probably will. One day, yeah. I just love this place, and we're really blessed, with the weather, and because you can see Canaries like this with a lot of sun and amazing weather, but it's also like a tough place in winter, with a lot of big swells, and so yeah, we just loving to live here, and the local community really helped me to feel good here, like as if it was my home. Helped me to improve my surfing, as the level of the locals here are really high, you know, like totally like an international level, especially here in Fronton. So yeah, so much advantage. I can do my sport. My baby is growing up like on the beach there, and my wife she's a local here, so she's not pretty much everyone. So yeah, we're living a really simple life and really nice.
Oh
and
my!
We got some big action while I'm talking about my life. We've got Alex Uranga here fighting for the title too, you know.
Yes, that's
and
right.
He's against the local boy Guillermo Cobo, which is from the east side, from a waves called Los Palos. One of the best riders to a freak. He's actually a freak. I don't know about the situation, Manny.
Well, we got the situation load right here. We got about 6 minutes remaining. Yep, and that last score of Alex Uranga still waiting to be dropped. But right now, Guillermo Cobo is winning that heat. We're still waiting for that last wave. Alex Uranga to prop in, but definitely an advantage of having El Fronton as your backyard now, moving here to Gran Canaria. But I totally agree with you. Everybody has been very open arms. The hospitality here has been absolutely amazing, and the island itself is very beautiful. Not only the waves, but just the interior, and it's
Exactly, man.
pretty amazing.
You know, like Canaries people here are really, so much hospitality, like you said, and this coast of Galda, you know, this is Canaries. You know, this is where the Aboriginal people used to be, and here we are, Guillermo Cobo, going there looking for a ramp. Can't really see what he's done, but maybe an invert on the road and just keep going inside. But the tide's getting really dry here, and it seems really hard to find like some good section or some opening barrel, you know, because it's getting pretty dangerous to surf out there. Like, I mean, without the contest, there will be no one in the water at this moment. No one will be surfing there.
So if the event was not happening, not even the top guys?
Yeah, the top guy would surf this morning early for maybe an hour, and that's it. And we have the replays here of Alex Uranga, and it seems like a big roll or a big invert. Can't really see. Can't really see, but and here we have the replay of Guillermo Cobo.
Big roll right
and
there
a big
from
roll
Cobo.
there, landing on the top. It's a bit wide, but this is pretty much what the guys are looking for here to get some good moves on the way. So yeah, like I said, if there was no contest today, we will see some local guys surfing early this morning, but maybe for about an hour or an hour and a half. And we are already surfing since like 2 hours and a half here, you know, and yeah, and it's getting really dry now. So most of the guys now is going to move to that wave next to us. It's called Agujero, which is one of the best waves in all Canaries, or top 5, and should be pretty epic today. And yeah, I think everybody is going to be there for the break, because it's break good on low tide.
Okay, so some of the riders who would rather be sitting here watching, others will be out there keeping their body warm and surfing some perfect waves. Just minutes of a walk down the way. But El Fronton, it's a very dangerous wave.
Yeah, it is dangerous. We just saw a big wipeout just before from this guy Dino Carmo from Portugal. Oh yeah, this is a dangerous wave. It didn't hold you too much down the water, but it's all about the impact zone. The impact zone can be really powerful, and you can really hit the bottom like really hard. And even if you don't touch with the head, like if you touch strong with any part of your body, you're gonna get hurt. So I heard a story like a few years ago, a guy get hurt here in low tide, and the helicopter come to get him, and the helicopter land on the rocks just there because he was dead low tide, and the guys could not even move with his neck because he hit the head.
Gosh.
So the helicopter had to land on the rocks.
On the reef.
On the reef there, because he was low tide, to pick up this guy and bring him to the hospital.
Oh my God. So that's how dangerous it is out in the water. Out in the water right now is the last heat you're going to see until we go into a break, and that last call will be made at the next call will be made at 3 o'clock local time. So make sure you tune in to see more action from El Fronton, the 2006 Fronton King. So we have live action. Alex Uranga on a medium-sized wave. Look at it just sucking off the reef.
Oh my God, you see how dry it is. Seems so dry out there. And
it looks like we do Guillermo Cobo. He has a chance right here. This is his last chance as he bottom turns. Looking for the section now. It goes for just mistimes that section right there. Guillermo Cobo's last chance right there, I believe.
Yeah, that was the last chance because we've got like 45 seconds remaining. And yeah, it's a really close hit. You see like Alex Ronga with 12 point total and Guillermo Cobo just behind with a 11.83. That's a really close hit, but this is what we have, you know, the best guys surfing, you know, and at the best wave. And yeah, and surfing fronton with the tide that low, this is something pretty crazy.
Yeah, this place is very spectacular as well. I mean, they actually really put this thing together. It's been a few years since I've been back, but they have a bench with a full, it looks like an arena, a stage.
Exactly. They just built some pretty good infrastructure here in the fronton, you know, taking care of the place. Back in the days, it used to be like really hard to go down, you know, almost climbing to go down surfing, you know. And they realized that people from all over the world were coming here, so they did some really good structure out here.
So it looks like we do have the results for that last heat. It is Alex Uranga who will advance on. Guillermo Cobo put in a fine showing in that last heat. But the Canary Island locals, we still have a handful of them still in the event. One of which will be going against the leader on the leaderboard, Ian Campbell, Igor Sanchez. Will go out. Both of them will go out in heat number 8. We most likely will see them later in the
Exactly,
afternoon.
I will see them later. And yeah, come back at 3 o'clock, guys. It should be a good show. And with the tide going higher, we're going to have some amazing condition this afternoon. So I just yeah, invite all you guys to watch us live, and that's going to be amazing.
Check this out. I think we do have a graphic once again from the top 10. And here's the I don't know.
Here's
if you
the
can
graphic.
see.
Yeah, okay, I can see that.
Yeah.
With all the result of everyone.
You can take a step over there and tell us what you see. Your first hand look.
Okay, yeah. So we can see like so yeah, Campbell is first place with 2 winning, you know, winning Arica and Viana. Pierre Ricoste just there with the 100.60 behind Jan Campbell and Jeff Eba, myself and Alex Ronga. So that's going to be a really good battle for the world title. It's like, from my point of view, it's not just depends on your performance, it's going to depend on the performance of the other riders too. So I think that's a really healthy and a really good race for everyone, you know, and we don't know really what's going to happen, but it's going to be for sure a good rider is going to take that title and live up this big trophy.
That's right. Come back up here and we're going to sign off and send everybody to take a quick break. Again, our last call will be, our next call to continue on with the next call for the incredible action is going to be at 3 p.m. local time, so that's about 3-4 hours from now.
Okay, so we've got 5 hours pretty much.
Okay.
So it's good, like 2:30. You can get. I think the call's going to be like 2:30 for maybe a 3 o'clock start, and maybe until dark, like 7:30. So we're going to get 4 hours of crazy action with the best rider in the world, surfing one of the best waves in the world. So just check it out.
Yeah, a lot of people are waiting. They've been watching and waiting to see Garth McGregor out here. He's got a very,
I can't wait to see him there.
Yeah, a huge fan base from Australia and across the world. He's going to be facing off the Brazilian Eder Luciano. When we get back from our break, we're going to have those two starting off that first heat of round number 3. So when we come back from the break, that's what we're going to see. So here is a breakdown of what we see on the screen.
Okay,
is Amaury Laverne. What do we got?
So we've got Sorry again. So we got rider name Mike Stewart just get first on this heat. I can't really see the totals, but Mike Stewart get first. It was again Antonio Cardoso. I won my heat this morning against Jonathan Vega, Jacob Romero. Alex Ronga was against Guillermo Cobo just now. And Zino Carmo that had to leave the water because of an injury. So that was the hits this morning, and some big names coming back this afternoon with the hits of Jeff and Pierre-Louis Costes and Ian Campbell. So we're going to see some really big names coming back here to surf that famous wave of Fronton.
All right, thank you for that input right there. You had first eyes on the screen right there. So again, thank you all for tuning in here at the 2016 Fronton King. Manny V with the one and only Amaury Laverne, and he is still on the hunt for a world title possibly here at this event. So we do have our next call. We're going to go on a break. We do have our next call, 3 p.m. local time, and I'm pretty sure we're going to get the next heats underway. And that first heat, you're going to see Eder Luciano and Garth McGregor. Following that, Matias Diaz and Mitch Rollins. Those are going to be the first 2 heats, and we're going to keep plugging away at those heats as we continue on. So thank you for coming in for a few minutes.
Thank
brother.
you very much, Manny.
All right,
for the
don't go
invitation.
anywhere. We're going to be back in a few hours. And before we take off, take a look at these sponsors, and we'll see you at 3 p.m. next call.
Life is nourished by experiences that make you grow. So choose a destination where the climate is great all year round, where there's a new, thrilling landscape to discover every day. A destination full of unforgettable moments for you and for everyone. Choose a great destination. Choose Gran Canaria.
I feel like I'm gonna drop real soon. My mind's hurting, I'm over the moon. Pulses sagging out, I'm losing the pace. It's the way you feel, man, not the way you taste. Rebel, rebel, I see you with your gun.
Hay un lugar en Gran Canaria que es reducto de tradiciones, un lugar en la costa para contemplar nuestras alturas, un lugar en las alturas para ver la inmensidad del mar. Ven a descubrir nuestro pasado y traerlo hasta el presente. Patrimonio etnográfico, cultural, gastronómico. Altos de Galdar. Saborea nuestro paisaje.